Hi, my name is Chris Gallam and I'm Product Manager at IMT Medical. Today I would like to show you how to work with the CITREX flow measurement device and how to successfully set it up for measurements with a ventilator or an anesthesia machine. Let me show you a little bit of the setup first and then guide you through a few good practice rules. This would be a typical setup. We would have the ventilator or the anesthesia machine, then its normal circuits with sensors and whatever is necessary. Then we would have our CITREX here, and at the end we have the test lung. The CITREX part consists of a filter and an inlet tube and then the measuring device itself. The filter protects the CITREX from any dust or dirt, and it also helps in the laminarization and in the accurate measurement. The inlet tube is a laminarization tube which helps in a precise measurement of flow. So I would like to show you a little bit of the good practice rules here. We recommend to let the CITREX warm up for a while, and the same applies usually to ventilators. Because the electronics warm up and the sensors tend to drift, a warm up of 15 minutes is good practice. After that, we have to zero the CITREX, and we have to zero it before anything is connected. Zero will take away the offset of any flow or pressure sensors, which may be effect of transport or storage. Then I will show you how to use the filter and the inlet tube. I will show you how to calibrate the oxygen sensor. The oxygen sensor does not need to be calibrated before every measurement, unlike the zero, which should be done before every measurement. But the oxygen should be done once a week or before important oxygen measurements. Then we will check the gas type, gas standard, and trigger settings before we do our actual measurement. So let's see how this works in practice. CITREX, and it is protected with these white caps, which now have to be removed before we do any zero operation. Then we use this button here, so we access the service menu, and when we click it long, it will automatically start the zero procedure. Zero procedure just takes a few seconds. After performing the zero, we are ready to do the setup of the device. Very important is the laminarization tube, which laminarizes everything on the inlet, and on top of that comes the inlet filter. Now let's do the oxygen sensor calibration. Again, the oxygen sensor calibration only has to be performed once a week. I go to the service menu, go to oxygen calibration. By clicking several times, oxygen sensor calibration, there is a oxygen and air calibration. Let's have a look at the display in more detail. So there is the possibility to perform an oxygen and air calibration, or alternatively an air calibration only. Air calibration is easier, faster, and in most times sufficient. For completeness, we will perform an oxygen and air calibration. I start it, and it tells me to apply 30 liters per minute of oxygen, 100% oxygen flow. I use the service level of my ventilator to apply a 30 liter per minute oxygen flow, which I connect now. So I apply the 100% oxygen flow of 30 liters per minute. Here we see the actual real-time value of the oxygen flow. And I have to stress the point that we really apply an oxygen flow which is high enough. In the neighborhood of 30 liters per minute is a must for a successful oxygen sensor calibration. Then I start the calibration by hitting the triangle. It takes 2 minutes on 100% oxygen, and it takes 2 minutes on air. So we have now 15 seconds of oxygen, 100% oxygen calibration left. After this, the device will prompt us for 30 liters of 21% air, which is doing right now. I have to apply 30 liters per minute of air, which again I do from the service level of my ventilator. So now I have changed to air, 30 liters of air. I let the oxygen flow out a little bit, and then I start the calibration. Again, this is going to take 2 minutes, during which the sensors are averaged. So we have 25 seconds of oxygen sensor calibration left. The second point was 21% oxygen, which is normal air. And after this, my oxygen sensor is calibrated and ready for measurement. I repeat, this oxygen sensor calibration should only be done once a week or before very important oxygen measurements. As a next step, we want to quickly double check on the gas type. So we click here on the service menu, we click through until we find the gas standard, AP21. This AP21 is matching up with the ventilator I'm calibrating. Then the gas type is air with automatic oxygen measurement. So the oxygen cell we just calibrated is being used to detect the gas type. We could also change that. We could have nitric oxide and many other gases, CO2, air only, air and manual adjustment of oxygen, and the most convenient one is air and oxygen automatic, which is typically used for ventilators and for anesthesia machines. We also want to double check on the trigger settings. These are the trigger settings. You can see it's set for an adult. Rising edge 3 liters per minute, that's the starting trigger. The expiration trigger is falling edge minus 3 liters per minute, and the delay is 60 seconds, which are perfect default settings for adult ventilation measurements. There is a second preset for pediatric, and there is a third preset for high frequency ventilation. But we choose adult. The good thing in CITREX is that you can work with profiles. There is a profile selection page here. In profile selections, I can load predefined profiles which set the gas standard, the trigger, and all other CITREX settings according to the measurement which I have to perform. These profiles have to be defined previously, but can be loaded very quickly by just selecting them here. This brings me to the summary. What have we done? We have, before every measurement, or when we take CITREX into operation, we have a warm-up of 15 minutes. Then after removing the covers, we perform the zero. Nothing else should be connected either. Then we use a filter and an inlet tube. Oxygen sensor calibration is less important. We do it just before important measurements or once a week. And before every measurement, we should check gas type, gas standard, which should match up with my ventilator, and trigger settings, which should match up with the measurement I want to have. This brings me to an end of good practice rules with the CITREX, how to set it up, and how to prepare it for important measurements with your ventilator or with your anesthesia machine. I wish you good luck and stay tuned. Thank you very much.